episode of Who Would Win, a show that completely ignores anything important happening in the world and instead focuses on a fictional battle between characters from the worlds of comics, sci-fi, and fantasy. I'm your host, James Gavsie, and as always, I'm joined by the one and only Eric Holmes. In today's episode, two of gaming's most stylish demon-slaying nightmares collide in a battle where the bullets are endless, the combos are pretty much ridiculous, and the attitude is somehow even louder than the explosions. In one corner, rep by Eric Holmes, it's Bayonetta, the last Umbra Witch, a reality-bending master of magic who wields 4 guns, summons colossal infernal demons, and dances through combat with impossible speed, elegance, and devastating power. It sounds like I'm describing Eric Holmes as I'm reading this, by the way. And in the other corner, rep by James Gavsie, that's me, by the way. You've got Dante, the wisecracking half-demon devil hunter from the Devil May Cry franchise. Armed with an arsenal of legendary weapons and supernatural abilities, he spent his life cutting down the forces of hell with unmatched style. As usual, I ran the patented Who Would Win Google test, and this dream matchup has been, argued, a billion times, a trillion times. How many zeros in a Googleplex? All I'm saying, this is finally getting the Who Would Win deep dive treatment it has deserved for years. Eric, I don't know, what are your thoughts in today's matchup?
Yeah, I mean, here we go, right? Here we go. Like, we're with the times, you know, we just want to just get all the battles covered that we can and just keep this excitement and dynamic situation going. You know, there's this friction between you and me, right?
There is some friction between you and I. I don't think we're ever going to come to blows. I think we're too mature for that kind of horrible behavior you find at my new martial arts school, Ludus MMA, opening August 15th. More on that later. Yeah, yes. So we're not going to bring any of that into the podcast arena.
No. Well, also, James, another thing of interest is that actually both of these characters were created by the same person.
Hideki Kamiya, right? Is that?
Oh, thank you.
It. Yeah, you know what's funny? People have been telling me I need to gain some video game knowledge.
What you have?
A little bit here and there. I'm not a connoisseur, mind you. Yeah. So this is interesting. We should actually look up Hideki and say, like, hey, what do you feel like when your kids are fighting? You know, because we're doing it right now.
Yeah, Dante. You caused this, Hideki.
Yeah. Cause this, really. All right, listen, I know that's he did cause it. What a jerk, right? All right, look, we got to see what our judge has to say because, you know, we got the siblings of Hideki or the kids of Hideki fighting it out. Yes. It's good that we have the proverbial, if you will, adult in the room because making another appearance on the Who Would Win show. It's the unofficial mayor of Beverly Hills. It is who should be controlling the financial and marketing interests of Erewhon. Should be the face of Erewhon, really. If this guy was the face of Erewhon, I would be going to Erewhon all the freaking time. You know who we're talking about. It's the one, it's the only. It's Tadeo.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm so excited. We're here in Venice, y'all. And I don't think you understand. You know, you see these blockbusters, some hit, some fail, but when you come to the Who Would Win show, it's always a smash.
Yes.
Oscar, Emmy, Tony, award-winning programming, and it's fun too.
It's funny. We're trying to give what people want to listen to. Like we're trying to create those battles.
Yes.
What's really interesting is the fan base is kind of echoing that as well. Like we're actually kind of serving them the right way. We're not getting any pushback with these battles. Now we have in the past had people say like, I don't quite think that was a good battle. You know, we've done some questionable battles as well, but I think we're kind of hitting our stride here.
Yeah.
Especially since when the production team says, okay, here's the battles we want to do. What do you guys think? And all of us kind of on that Zoom call go like, wait, what are we doing? Like even we are saying like this is a great battle.
We get hyped up.
Now we were talking earlier about video game knowledge. I'm getting more and more literally on a daily basis. I still need a lot more. Eric, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you're a video game like geek connoisseur and 1 being you're where I was a few years ago, where are you on that scale?
I would say I'm like a 6. Yeah. Like in the middle.
Okay. We got to do video of this because the way you just looked at me like a 6, like you almost felt like saying like, I'm really sorry. I'm about a 6. I'm about a 6. You're a 6, but which is like a
lot of commitments during the day as you're adulting.
I hear you. But
that's true. Just a little bit.
It's a 6, but you're like a Kansas City 9.
Oh, thank you.
Right?
Oh,
you see what I did there?
Yeah.
All right, today, where do you rate yourself on the same scale?
I would say a 1 or a 2. I can give you Zelda. I can give you Capcom. That's the extent of my knowledge.
You know what it is? I think, I've made this joke before whenever former life when I was a software developer and I went into like a meeting or something, very often I felt like I was the only guy in there who had actually kissed a girl. I find that that's kind of you on a daily basis. You're like, video games, I'd love to do it, but I'm Tadeo. I have things. I have responsibilities. Like the city of Beverly Hills, you know, you can't be, it's not going to mayoral itself.
Exactly.
Right? There you go, right?
Exactly. You know, I get things done. I'm unlike the mayor of other cities that we don't know where.
What?
But
No, hold on. You're not wrong. You know, I'm sorry. All right, listen, this is cool. We're on the right page. We're about to have an epic battle. But before we kind of get into this, let's go over the rules of a who would win match. Now, each debater is going to make 3 points. Keep in mind that the who would win match is a random encounter in a neutral location, no prior knowledge and no prep time allowed. The debater has to stay within the confines of the character. And when it comes to determining the winner, it's the judge. That's right, Judge Tadeo, who has the final say and will determine which character lost based on death, incapacitation, or battlefield removal, with no outside interference being allowed. Remember, the bottom line of who would win match is that for one side to get the win, their opponent must be incapacitated for a minimum of 2 minutes where they pose no threat whatsoever. And before we get started, we need to thank our sponsor yet again is Comic Crusaders. Again, look, if you love comics, pop culture, real conversations with the people actually making the magic happen, you got to check out Comic Crusaders. From any legends on the rise to industry heavy hitters, Comic Crusaders pulls back the curtain and takes you inside and behind the stories. Comic Crusaders was created by the one and only Al Mega, one of the greatest minds in geek culture, who does interviews, reviews, reactions, and straight up has the passion for the culture like no one else. By the way, he's an absolutely wonderful human being. Just putting that out there, Al. And here's the best part. Comic Crusaders have been doing this for 20 years strong. That's not hype. That's just pure legacy. So if you want to discover your next favorite comic, meet the creators before they blow up and when they've made it, or just vibe with the community that actually loves this culture, go to comiccrusaders.com. That's comiccrusaders.com. And now let's get to the tail of the tape for both of our combatants. Eric, please give us the details for Bayonetta.
Yes, absolutely. So, Bayonetta, long before the modern world, she was born Cereza, the forbidden child of Umbra Witch and a Lumen Sage. 2 rival clans, by the way, whose union was strictly forbidden. After centuries sealed away beneath a lake of all things and places to be sealed away beneath, with no memory of her past, she awakens to rediscover her identity while battling angels, demons, and gods alike across the Bayonetta series that all our fans, I'm sure, are aware of all the mini-series. She has defeated celestial beings, reshaped reality, and overcome threats capable of destroying entire universes. In terms of gaming, Bayonetta stands as one of the most iconic and powerful action heroes ever created, renowned for her confidence, style, and overwhelming magical prowess.
Very well done. How do you define prowess, by the way? I've used that word a whole lot. I'm not really sure I know what it means.
Sound. That's how I define
Okay,
it.
again, you don't need to look at me directly in the eyes when you make those sounds.
Can't help myself, James.
Yeah, what was that sound again? Yeah, again, don't look at me straight in the eyes.
That sounds prowess,
the eye
right?
contact.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed
You wanted me to do that again.
I did. The eye contact is quite enjoyable, by the way, and enchanting.
I won't charge
it's gonna, it's going to throw me off my game. We'll see. Well done, Eric. Now, here are the details for Dante. Born as the son of the legendary demon knight Sparda and the human Eva, Dante inherited the blood of both humanity and demon kind, which you just hate it when that happens. After his family was torn apart by demonic forces, he dedicated his life to hunting the creatures of hell while running the Devil May Cry agency. Dante combines unmatched swordsmanship, supernatural abilities, and a cocky sense of humor that never fades, even in the middle of battle. Within the world of video games, Dante is celebrated as one of the greatest action game protagonists of all time, defining the stylish action genre with his incredible combat skills, versatility, and larger-than-life personality with a little hint of Eric Holmes' prowess. Just had to throw that in there.
Okay.
And now you have the facts on both opponents. Can you do that sound effect again? What is prowess? Okay, there you go. Today, do you have any questions before we get started?
Well, first I want to lean into this Bayonetta. Is she a hottie? Because the way you're describing her,
she looks like a teacher look, which is hot teachers, but she has like the glasses. So she does have the teacher look going.
Okay.
I'd say she has a little something going on. Yeah, video game something, I guess.
I kind of think of her. I look at her like as a stylish Wonder Woman with glasses.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
There's there'll be takers for that.
By the way, Wonder Woman's kind of like, not in a bad way. Is always like one of my top heroes. There you go. Anyway. All right. Very cool. That's a great question.
I just need to know. I just need to know. I mean, I wanted to lean into that. Obviously, we have a half demon. So that kind of describes all I need to know. Half bad. I mean, I've never met a good demon unless I'm missing out on something.
Yeah. What about the ones you made at Erewhon?
I mean, They are tall and blonde, so they are kind of good.
Oh, there you go. All right, there you have it.
There you have it, guys.
Keep it family friendly today. How dare you?
Oops.
All right. As if that was bad. All right, Eric, let's get this party started. Here's for your point number one.
So witch time changes everything. So James here, he wants this battle to be about Dante's versatility. The problem is none of that matters if Bayonetta is experiencing time differently than Dante is. So Bayonetta's signature ability, Witch Time, like I said, it's witching time, witching hour, which I've seen some people, witching hour. Anyways, it's one of the single greatest combat abilities in gaming. By performing perfectly timed dodges, she slows the world around her to a crawl while continuing to move and attack at full speed. So throughout Bayonetta 2 and 3, Witch Time repeatedly allows her to evade attacks from beings moving at just a ridiculous amount of speed before retaliating dozens of times before they can recover. So against angels like Fortitude, Temperantia, Jubilis, and Loptor, she continuously uses Witch Time to dismantle enemies vastly larger and physically stronger than herself. And Bayonetta isn't limited to her own physical attacks. She can summon Infernal Demons like Gamora, Madame Butterfly, Phantasma Renee, Malphus, Queen Butterfly, Kraken, old Kraken, baby. Even send Infernal Demons in Bayonetta 3. These aren't temporary attacks. They're skyscraper-sized monsters capable of ripping apart divine beings. Bayonetta can literally fight at every range. She has 4-gun combat, so magic, whips, chainsaws, rocket launchers. Oh, and let us not forget yo-yos. I've seen yo-yos do some damage in grade school. Like little Timmy. Take this. Like, oh, damn it, Timmy.
I mean, if it can take out little Timmy, it's taking out kaiju-sized monsters.
Do not sleep on yo-yos.
No.
You ever see one by
No
you,
way.
walk away. Anyways, yes, and then her demon masquerade transformations, her entire combat philosophy is literally adaptability. So James would say that Dante is unpredictable. Bayonetta has spent centuries fighting opponents whose powers are completely unknown the moment the battle begins. The biggest difference, she doesn't need to overpower him. She only needs a single Witch Time activation to completely seize control of the pace of the fight. And all that, James, is my point number one.
All right, so there's a character in Dragon Ball Z and then Dragon Ball Super who can kind of do something very similar. And here's the problem with that. If someone can move insanely fast, right, and you slow them down, so take the Flash, right, and the Flash can move at multiple times the light speed.
Yes.
And if you slow him down using the same attack, guess what happens? He just becomes, instead of insanely fast, he's just ridiculously fast. And he's still fast. He's still combat fast. Dante moves so incredibly fast. I don't know if this will slow him down. Just like for those who know Dragon Ball Super, when Hit took out Goku and used that same kind of time stoppage thing, and Goku just went, Ultra Saiyan, Super Saiyan, God mode, and then used a KO. I'm really nerding out. A Kaioken thing to boost his power. It didn't stop him. He was still fast enough and powerful enough to hit. Literally with the time being slowed down and everything. I think Dante can pull off the same thing because I am a nerd and a geek and I brought up all that kind of crazy stuff.
Very impressive.
Thank you very much.
There.
Thank you. See, talking about kissing a girl, I have. How miraculous is that?
Allegedly.
Let me get to my point number one. And for my point number, let's talk about just the basics for Dante because Bayonetta, incredibly powerful. Dante, however, has spent his entire freaking life, defeating beings exactly like Bayonetta, reality warping, supernatural monsters with magic, speed, and overwhelming power. There you have it. Because Dante is not just a swordsman, he's a son. We talked about the legendary demon Sparda. This gives him access to supernatural strength, regeneration, my favorite thing, the devil trigger, the sin devil trigger, and an arsenal that adapts to virtually any opponent. And across the series of everything, Dante repeatedly defeats enemies that were considered pretty much impossible to be defeated. In Devil May Cry, he defeats the demon emperor Mundus, my favorite name, a being created entire pocket dimensions and then had this godlike demonic power while doing it. In Devil May Cry 3, a younger, less experienced Dante defeats Virgil multiple times before sealing Arkham after Arkham absorbs the power of Sparda himself. Virgil being one of my favorite wrestlers from the 1980s.
Right
Should have
on.
turned turned on the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, way sooner than he did, but I'm just glad he did at the end. All right, and Devil May Cry 4, Dante effortlessly dismantles Savior. This is a colossal demonic construct the size of a city while treating the battle almost casually. You know what's bigger than a kaiju, by the way? The city that a kaiju has to go through to destroy in the first place, and that's the size of the thing that Dante effortlessly dismantles. Just putting it out there. Okay, look, Devil May Cry 5, Dante unlocks Sin Devil Trigger and defeats Urzin, the Demon King, who literally effortlessly crushed every hero earlier in the game, and him become empowered by the Cliffoth fruit. My favorite fruit fruited Erewhon, by the way.
Delicious, by the way.
It's absolutely fantastic. Look, Bayonetta's going to thrive against angels who are super powerful, and Dante thrives against literally everything. His greatest strength really is his versatility. Need long range, he's got it. Ebony and Ivory. Need overwhelming melee, he's got the Devil Sword. Dante. Need heavy damage, he's got the Balrog. Need crowd control, King Cerberus. Every weapon completely changes how he fights. And this is the thing, even more importantly, he improvises like crazy. He'll weaponize a motorcycle. He'll surf on rockets. He turns enemy weapons against their owners. Bayonetta's got style, no doubt, absolutely. But Dante practically invented stylish combat and improvisation during fighting. That's my point number one.
Whew. Very good point. Point heard, not received. So yeah, James. So listen, this is the thing. In your guys' universe, and you're in, the universe that your guy is fighting in. Like he has his characters that he's beating, destroying. The thing is, Bayonetta's universe, the people that she's fighting against are even more powerful than the universe that your guy's fighting in. So that being said, she fights more powerful people, and guess what? Still beats them. So that's my rebuttal to you.
Wait, so you're saying like Dante is the king of the CFL, but Bayonetta is like just wrecking everything in the NFL. Is that correct?
And nothing against the CFL.
Oh, your eyes are saying something completely different. Today's episode is brought to you by the CFL, home of many American football players who found a secondary home once the NFL.
Which work hard and end up in NFL. But yeah, that was a pretty decent. You get what I'm saying.
I do agree. Okay.
So there,
I think that's an interesting argument. I don't know if I would actually agree with that, but it doesn't matter what I say. It's up to the judge. Judge Tadeo, we've heard one point from both Eric and myself. Where's your head at so far with this battle?
Well, I'm very interested. We have two supernatural beings, but what enticed me to maybe go to the dark side or the demonic side, tell me about Dante's Devil Sword and Devil Trigger, because those sound really compelling, like something dangerous.
They are. I will definitely get into that a little bit more, but I may have to shift my strategy because Eric actually, again, Eric, I got to take my hat off to you. I love how you're coming in, instead of like building up to the big points, you're like, no, I'm going to start off with my big points. Which time? I was like, I knew he's going to bring it up. I thought it was going to be point number 3, but he brought up his point number 1. So let me kind of change things on the fly a little bit.
Let's go.
But you'll see what I do. Eric, hit us your point number 2.
Yeah, my pleasure, James. So next, just to give my our judge, our dear Tadeo, more information about my person. I would like to get into combat IQ, speed, and beating gods. All right, so James here, he keeps emphasizing, the durability for Dante, and also that's because durability is his best argument. Unfortunately, Bayonetta doesn't win by combat IQ, speed, and beating gods. So James keeps emphasizing, his guy's durability. That's because durability is his best argument. Unfortunately, Bayonetta doesn't win by standing toe-to-toe, trading punches. She wins through precision. So throughout all 3 games, she defeats enemies vastly stronger than herself by exploiting openings created through flawless timing. So look at Jubileus, the creator, deity of Bayonetta's universe. Bayonetta defeats her after battling through collapsing dimensions before punching her into the sun. Yes. Then in Bayonetta 2, she defeats Acer, the literal god of chaos capable of manipulating reality and time itself. Then in Bayonetta 3, it just keeps going on, she battles Singularity, a multi-universe entity, systematically erasing entire universes. So Bayonetta doesn't merely survive these encounters, she wins. She's also one of the smartest combatants in action gaming, by the way. She consistently chains firearms into martial arts, uses aerial mobility, environmental attacks, infernal demon assist, masquerade transformations, and perfectly timed, witch time activation. So, James, you say your guy adapts. Bayonetta adapts while slowing time itself. She controls the tempo of every engagement, and tempo, my friends, wins fights. And all that, James, is my point number 2.
Excellent point. I disagree.
Wow,
I completely
shocked.
disagree. I know, shocker. Tempo does not win fights. Right, it doesn't. And here's the deal. After years and years in the fight game, I can tell you why. Tempo is great and it's really good, and technique is cool too. What wins fights when everything else is equal is conditioning, i.e. endurance. And here's the difference between these two characters. Bayonetta gets tired. After a while, she gets tired. Dante doesn't. His endurance seems to be freakishly endless, where he can, perform at a high level, continuously. But Bayonetta is going to get tired, and this battle is going to go on for a while. But Dante, all of a sudden, he's so fresh as a daisy, he's going to get the win. But let me get to my point number 2.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's talk about that. You said it. Point number 2: durability, regeneration. Oh yeah, I'm going to mention that relentless endurance.
Yes.
There you go. Look. I'll admit it, Bayonetta can absolutely hurt Dante. Okay, I'm just going to say it. But keeping him down is another matter entirely. And throughout the Devil May Cry video game series, Dante survives injuries that would absolutely kill almost anyone else. He's impaled through the chest repeatedly. In Devil May Cry 3, Rebellion literally awakens his demonic power after he's run through. And throughout the franchise, he's stabbed by swords, crushed by massive demons. He's even blasted by magical attacks the whole time. And he immediately comes back and just returns to the fight. In Devil May Cry 5, Dante survives losing to Urizen, spends weeks unconscious, and then connects to the Qlipoth, that magical fruit, object from Erewhon Judge Tadeo. Yeah. And then he awakens stronger than ever, absorbs the Sparda sword into himself, unlocks Sin Devil Trigger, and completely reverses the battle. I don't even know what half those things mean. I played the game for a little while. His regeneration, by the way, borders on absurd. When Dante activates Devil Trigger or Sin Devil Trigger, everything improves dramatically. His strength, his speed, his durability, his healing, his overall power output. Even if Bayonetta lands some crazy cool combinations, Dante has repeatedly demonstrated that punishment simply isn't enough to keep him down. He's one of gaming's greatest tanks, disguised as a stylish action hero. Eventually, Bayonetta's offense becomes a war of attrition, right? She's giving off 3 units of damage, so is Dante. But the problem is she comes back being damaged with 3 units. Dante comes back with being healed. And also, again, he's got that insane, magical, supernatural endurance Bayonetta doesn't have. But that's a battle Dante pretty much never loses. That's my point number 2.
Whew. These points are getting more colorful, if you will. You mentioned the conditioning, and then I mentioned the tempo. But if you're conditioned, you still need to have some good tempo. That's my thoughts on that. But anyways, so this is the thing, James. You could take a LA marathon trained athlete, or pick your city, right? Maybe even whatever city the marathon is being ran in, right?
Even Portland?
Do they have a 26.2 in Portland?
I'm sure they got something like that in Portland, yeah.
No knock. I'm sure they do. Good breweries there, by the way. But anyways, you take a marathon trained athlete, all endurance, they got, but guess what? They can still be knocked out.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That is harsh and cold. And by the way, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Some guy walks in. We've seen it before. People come to the jiu-jitsu school and they're like, I'm a triathlete and I've got endurance for days. Awesome. That doesn't mean their chin's really good. It doesn't. It doesn't mean it's bad, by the way, but it doesn't mean it's just great right away. So you're not incorrect on that.
Did he knock that at the finish line?
I'll agree with that.
I hate you, Josh. Like, oh, come on. This guy just finished the LA Marathon.
What if the LA Marathon, hear me out, you're almost there. You've gone through everything. But to get through it, there's a whole bunch of people there with gloves on just trying to knock you out. And you got to that's the last piece that I would watch that.
That's the only marathon I will ever watch.
Thank
and I'm
you.
sorry, let me just be honest. I'm not married, thankfully. I'm not married, sorry. And I wouldn't even go to the marathon to see my wife run unless they have the boxing at the end. And if she doesn't get knocked out, then she gets a free meal.
Oh my, it's good. That was good.
Wow.
This is pretty good.
This is, you know what? When you get married, I can't wait to be at that wedding. That's going to be.
We will play this at his wedding.
So as they're walking down the aisle, right?
Jeremy,
the
delete the
bride's
file.
as the bride's walking down the aisle with her dad and everything, there's all these guys with gloves on, and Tadeo's like, "How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to get married?"
She's fighting.
She's fighting,
all the bridesmaids.
knocking everyone out.
I'm worth it.
What's the self-esteem? Well, of course, self-esteem brought to you by Erewhon. Yes. Now available for $1,000 a drop. All right. Moving on. This is the deal. We're at the turning point where, Judge Tadeo, you've heard 2 points from both Eric and myself. It's time for you to tell us, who do you think is ahead and what does the other side have to do to get the victory?
Well, endurance does matter. And that's something that in any battle, I mean, can you withstand the barrage of punches? Can you withstand their offensive? But does Bayonetta have is she a trifecta? Does she have three video games?
That's correct.
Wow,
Yes.
so that means she is a survivor. So maybe her endurance is actually up to the task of defeating Dante. So I need to know a little bit more. Can she withstand the onslaught?
Ooh, okay, that's interesting. Let's see if she can. Eric, it's now or never. Here's your point number 3.
Man, it just made me think when you said, is she a survivor? Just that Destiny's Child just started playing in my head. I'm a survivor. I'm American. Is that how it go to there?
I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. Beyonce, give us a ring.
Yo, call it. She missing out. All right, so point number 3.
Sorry,
now I'm really fired up.
I'm just saying the eye contact is still throwing me. That's a little. Go ahead.
All right,
Your point number 3.
Yeah, so Bayonetta, Judge Tadeo, operates on a multiversal scale, my friend. So James again wants to compare final bosses. Let's do exactly that. Bayonetta's victories aren't merely impressive; they're reality defining. In Bayonetta, she defeats Jubilius, whose rebirth would have recreated reality itself. In Bayonetta 2, she defeats Acer, the god responsible for maintaining the balance between light and darkness. In Bayonetta 3, she fights Singularity, a being actively destroying the multiverse by collapsing parallel universes into oblivion. Bayonetta responds by summoning infernal demons on a scale never before seen, traveling across countless realities, fighting alongside alternate versions of herself. This is how ridiculous she is. And ultimately defeating, yes, the greatest existential threat her franchise has ever introduced. Her arsenal evolves throughout every game. The Demon Slave gives her direct battlefield control over massive infernal demons. Demon Masquerade lets her seamlessly merge without those demons to gain new forms, mobility, and devastating attacks. Combined with witching hour. I like it. Anyways, these abilities make her one of the most complete combatants, yes, in video game history. So James says that his guy has an answer for everything. Bayonetta has already overcome gods who manipulated time, reality, creation, and the multiverse itself. If somehow she can outfight the architects of existence, which she manages to do, which is just ridiculous, she can absolutely outfight one devil hunter, even one as legendary as Dante. And all that, James, is my point number 3.
All right, I'm just going to kill your point number 3 right now because you brought up
What
something.
do you got? What do you got?
Earlier you said, in his universe, Dante's universe, the final bosses, so to speak, aren't as powerful as the final bosses or threats that Bayonetta has to offer. But I can absolutely disprove that right now because Dante's had to face off and beat reality warping, reality destroying, dimension destroying beings and overcome that. If someone can destroy a dimension in one universe, I'm pretty sure they can destroy a dimension in another universe just to create some parity here. Okay. So all those victories for Bayonetta are awesome. Again, nothing that Dante hasn't done and couldn't do again very easily. All right, let me get to my point number 3.
All right.
For my point number 3, Dante has defeated the strongest demons in his universe. And this is going to be very important and kind of key because when you compare resumes, Dante's really is pretty much unmatched. Every major demon king eventually falls to him. I just love these names. Mundus, Argosax, the Savior, Urizen, Virgil, who started going to these Comic-Con events and didn't get a lot of people signing his pictures. It was sad. It was lonely Virgil it turned into. It's horrible. Maybe he should have stayed with the $1 Million Man. I don't know. It's the kind of thing. Nightmare. He's defeated beings capable of conquering worlds, reshaping dimensions, pretty much threatening the human and demon worlds simultaneously. And most importantly, every game freakishly ends the same way, I noticed. This supposedly unbeatable final boss loses to Dante. And Bayonetta, look, she's certainly defeated gods, but Dante repeatedly defeats the apex predators of an entire demonic cosmology, and those are the biggest words I know. By Devil May Cry 5, he surpassed even his father, Sparda, who's this legendary demon who sealed the demon world itself. This is someone who can destroy dimensions and control them, and Dante beat that person. Sin Devil Trigger, by the way, represents the absolute peak of Dante's evolution. His strength, speed, regeneration, power, everything reaches an entirely different level, and Bayonetta has never faced anyone exactly like Dante. And again, it's kind of like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. All of a sudden you can go Super Saiyan, and that's what that level is for Dante. Good luck for Bayonetta facing that. Look, someone who combines overwhelming physical power, elite swordsmanship, firearms mastery, demonic magic, limitless adaptability, and virtually endless endurance into one fighter. Look, Bayonetta is going to run out of tricks eventually, the longer this fight goes on. Dante never runs out of ways to fight. That is the difference between these two. That's my point number 3.
All right. Look, you've been really, repping your character, repping your guy, and then bringing up some really impressive points. I have something in my pocket, James. I didn't want to bring this up. I've been holding back.
Remember, we got to keep this kid friendly.
I will keep it in my pants. In my pocket. In my pocket.
Pants or pocket? Which one?
Well, I have a lot of pockets.
Okay.
Different places.
Brought to you by Hot Pockets.
Oh, delicious. Pockets. Oh, man, you got to watch out the first bite. Ooh, let air
That is molten lava, nuclear level. There's no reason anything has to be that hot. Like, no reason. That's just right.
I remember when I was fresh out of college and you just like trying to survive. I had like a corporate job, we were just killing Hot Pockets. Like the whole,
what? They were killing you back, by the way.
Yeah. Neither here or there. All I'm saying is like, my mouth was destroyed by that freaking damn heat. And then they have a little wrapper that they created that helps it crisp in a microwave. Anyways, all right. This is what I got for you, buddy. So Hideki Kamiya, who created both of these characters, said himself, if the two of these were to battle each other, Bayonetta would win.
Oh, that is so low. That is so
I
low.
wanted to hear
That's
y'all.
like
I'm a listener. I listen to people.
Are you?
I listened this whole time, but it was time, James.
This is interesting because that's a really interesting
and I don't
fact.
want to influence our judgment that either.
That's been introduced into evidence. I
You know
verified
what?
it.
That's
It
like
is
Stan
verified.
Lee saying Thor beats the Hulk because I said so. You know what I mean? I get it. That is a James Gavsie maneuver if I ever saw one. My hat is off to you. Let me just Google that real quick.
Please do.
Are we gonna mistrial?
Okay, sorry. That is actually a quote from Hideki Kamiya. Yes, that is something he has said. But none of that matters, Eric, because it's really up to the judge.
Oh, the
judge. Judge Tadeo, listen, you've heard 3 points from both Eric and myself. It's time for you to make a decision. Tell us a story. Take us through your process, if you will, and let us know who wins this battle between Dante and Bayonetta.
In this who would win battle, Dante versus Bayonetta, we've got a half demon versus a witch. So I was envisioning what is more savage. Demons are from hell, but witches create hell. So in this battle, all of a sudden, we have Dante attacking with this devil trigger. And Bayonetta has seen some evil and beaten gods, but is almost overwhelmed by the devil's sword and the devil trigger, and is quite confused by this just overwhelming supernatural defeating machine of Dante. However, in a desperate feat, Bayonetta summons the gods or the giant demons using the magic meter. As it just revs up, all of a sudden she's created enough demons and onslaught that surround Dante, confuse him, and as he's battling and trying to survive, he's rendered incapable of anything but literally breathing. And in this episode of Who Would Win, Bayonetta defeats Dante by her use as a witch of going to another realm and bringing upon the summoned demons. And just like Hideki Kamiya, Bayonetta wins this battle.
Wait. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, baby.
I got to ask you a question.
Yeah,
By the way,
baby.
that was actually an excellent
That was awesome.
logic. I respect the process.
Yeah.
But was that the deciding factor that Hideki Kamiya said Bayonetta would win?
I have my notes here, and I'm going to you can write a dissent to this decision. However, when you have the creator who actually gave life and DNA to these creatures,
Speak on it.
We cannot overrule and we cannot dismiss his words. And that right there ended up thwarting your attempts at a win that you could have won, because we know that Dante has fought supernatural since his inception. But in this one, we can't overrule creators of universes.
Wow.
Because in this world, the God of this world spoke.
You know what? I can't argue with any of that. I'm just going to have to go with it. Judge Tadeo comes up with this amazing decision. Eric doing the unthinkable and just pulling this crazy good maneuver. By the way, on top of a great debate. On top of a great debate.
Thank
My
you,
hat is
James.
off to you for that.
Thank you.
All right. I begrudgingly accept this defeat through, a great debate and a great decision by the judge. There you have it. That's my good deed of the day being nice and to whatever. And when I walk out of here, I'm knocking out a whole bunch of people, just random people I find just going out. Some poor guys would be like, I don't know what's happening. I'm like, why did you?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I didn't get to work out today, so there's a whole lot of vent up, but I did take a lot of Red Bull and caffeine. So that could be a
So 2
problem.
bottles over there?
No reason to question that. No, today.
no.
All right, so great job, Eric. Tell the Legion of Audience or fan base where they can find you online.
Yes, but before I do that, I want to tell you how I feel about my victory.
Oh, true.
So we mentioned Hot Pockets earlier. I mentioned my, third-degree burns every morning before starting the cubicle that day. I'm going to celebrate by driving home and stopping by my local Spartan Final Boys and picking up some pepperoni bagel bites. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I deserve them.
We have sponsors. We have sponsors for the show. You're getting paid some decent money to be here.
Let's go.
Feel free to splurge beyond bagel bites. It's Smart and Final. Nothing wrong with those, by the way. Those are fantastic.
They've been there for me, and they're so delicious. And I think I deserve them.
Okay, that's fair.
I just think
that poor manager of Burger King's going to miss you tonight.
Don't worry, I'll get back there. I'm waiting for a new version of the Whopper to come out. But anyways,
that's fair.
Any reason I can justify purchasing bagel bites, I'm going for it. So this is a reason. So that's how I'm gonna celebrate. Now back to how they can find me online at the Eric with the C, THE, Eric, ERIC, Holmes. Let's connect.
Very cool. All right, Judge Tadeo. Rendering an interesting but good decision, even though I'm not the beneficiary of said decision, but still it was good, it was just, it was noble, all the things that make up Judge Tadeo. Tell Legion of Audience, our fan base, where they can find you online.
You can always find me online at Cuerpazo or in person, strolling around Beverly Hills, and I might treat you to that $100 Erewhon shake, so show up.
Ooh. There's a lot of fans. You really want to, okay, that's, you heard it first.
Hey, you
gotta find them
have you
first.
seen my glass Amex? It shines like the sun.
Oh my God. The confidence.
Limitless.
The confidence.
As he starts packing up his house
Yeah.
after this episode.
Right. He's going to become the new mayor of Azusa very quickly. Yeah, that's
scared.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a nice town.
It's a nice town. And
How can it find you?
I'm sure there's an Erewhon there too, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. And you can find me on X, aka Twitter and Facebook by typing in at James Gavsie. Find me on Instagram at James Gavsie MMA. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Who Would Win Show. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube by going to at Who Would Win Show. Yes, that's right. Our podcast is only on YouTube, at least for now, that is. On behalf of myself, Eric Holmes, today on the rest of the amazing Who Would Win production team, thank you once again for checking out another episode of Who Would Win. We'll see you next time.